start. Quick march. Left. Right. Turn. Hey, where you going? I didn't say wheel. I didn't say wheel. I'd just like to apologise for the delay there. We have unfortunately some sad news. As one of our members, the guy that normally does what I'm doing, his mother's just died and he's had to be run back home. So unfortunately I'm sorry for the delay, but that's how it comes out. I hope you'll enjoy what you're going to see. A certain amount of improvisation, because I'm not the normal spokesman. So there we go. Welcome to Coles Hill. You've seen some of the activities in place, you have to attend some of the lectures. Perhaps we were unusual in the last war. That Hitler having succeeded in taking France, leaving us alone against them. Unusual because we were the only country that actually had something in place, no matter how ramshackle it was. Even prior to the war, the intelligence services have been considering the idea of having units to stay behind in the event of an invasion. And as you know, our industry had been building up for a year and a half prior to the war, building up its rate of production, building up our munitions, still woefully behind the German level. As a comparison to that in France, unfortunately, because of socialist government, the French Communist Party received directives from Moscow to sabotage the French war. The brave Frenchmen were going up in their aircraft, and some of them were failing for mechanical failures and things, which were actually done by their mates. Terrible situation. So all the confusion in the retreat to Dunkirk. When our guys got back, this is one of the reasons why they say we need to know where we are now. Just asking against the Germans. Many brave Frenchmen came across. Many brave Frenchmen manned the perimeters at Dunkirk and held the Germans off and were brought back with the departing troops. Unfortunately, because of the capitulation, some of them were then sent back to France. But there we were, standing alone. Yeah, popular armour has been left in France, our heavy stuff has been left in France, loads of supplies. Now the idea of having the stay-behind units, the auxiliaries, being that the Germans can come across, but we've still got a large navy at Scapa Flow. Okay, it takes a day to get down there, but all the times there's going to be ships going backwards and forwards. When they do come across, when the Germans do come across, a lot of them are going to be intercepted, their transports sunk. They had nothing like the type of transports that we had when it came to D-Day. A lot of them would die in the process, but we would lose lots of ships as well in the process. But the great problem is having got that army across the channel. We have taken all our petrol 30 miles inland. The German tanks could go up to a French station to fill up petrol. French tanks work on aviation fuel. Bit of a bugger that, because it means they've got to have a special vehicle which is armoured, tracked, carrying a load of aviation fuel around with their tanks. Great tanks, but the Char B1 bis had so much heavy armour on that, not much of the Germans could penetrate it far. How do you keep it going? So the Germans come across, they've got to bring all their petrol with them, all their stores. We've evacuated most of the same people 30 miles inland. No petrol. The tank doesn't go, the tank doesn't go far without fuel. They've got to bring anything across with them. Now the Navy's going to suffer casualties, and it's still going to be shooting these ships as they go across. And once they're here, our troops have obviously would be forced back. These guys, when the balloons went up, when the bells rang, go to ground. Dotted 30 miles from the coastline all the way around the coast, except to the northwest. Operational bases. You've seen a mock-up of them in the granary. You might well have visited the new one that they're making, and there is an existing one which which is in the woods over there. They would go to ground and come out about after a week. Then they'd have a list of targets. They'd normally be based 5 miles from their original list of targets. Typically, these are the things people might have but also any petrol dumps, wagon lagers, tank lagers that the Germans have put their vehicles into. They'd also, although some deny this, they'd also been tasked with assassination. And assassination would not only be prominent targets amongst the enemies, members of the Nazi party, that would also be our own people that are likely to collaborate with them. The chief one, unfortunately, would often be the chief constable, and the chief constable would have been involved in vetting these men. He would know the names. So he was one auxiliary I spoke to in Norfolk said to me, he was such a nice man that I'd already made it up in my mind not to shoot him. That's true. But when push comes to shove, who knows? So they would come out and they would live in the understanding that the Germans didn't keep that going up north. Our own forces would have been told what the Germans were doing by the intelligence sector at the same time, and given enough time to muster sufficient force further up the country. Sanders has twice done war games based upon it. On both cases, the Germans never got past the second Scotland. So, that's how it came about. That's the reality, you know, but it was a near run thing. It was a near run thing. Perhaps Goering failure to beat our air force, what happened at the Battle of Britain, is still well celebrated in every area of the country. Last week we had the officers met in Barham, Battle of Britain celebration. Tried to call that the Sergeant's Festival. My colleagues are going to demonstrate some of the things that we do, talk about some of the equipment, bombs, explosives, and the shooting and electrical bands.
Hello, I'm Mark Forster and I'll be showing you 3 very special items of silenced equipment. The first one that you might have spotted is under my coat. I've got a silenced Sten gun. This was quite unusual in as much as it could very easily be hidden under a long coat. This coat isn't long enough, but if it was a bit further, if I was wearing a great coat, it would almost be invisible. And acts as the grip for the gun. The bolt action like a rifle, where you can load it by hand and you have 5 shots. The noise of this is even quieter than the Sten gun. From 60 feet away, it would be totally silent. Nobody would be able to hear anything. It also doubles as what they call a sleeve gun. You can load a bullet into the magazine, into the chamber, get rid of the magazine, and it becomes what they call a sleeve gun. You can tell I haven't practiced this, can't you? There we go. And it just disappears at the sleeve. Ready to appear like that. Perfect for very close range killing. Behind somebody in a corridor, behind somebody in a crowd. And then finally, you can always whack somebody over the head with it if you want to make your escape. So that's 2 items of silenced equipment. The final one is probably a bit less noticeable. Most soldiers, whether regular or irregular, would wear army boots. Big, studded army boots. I'm wearing pumps, so I can get away silently and stealthily, hopefully to fight another day. we have something I'm sure a lot of you will recognise. It's a very, very famous gun. It's the Thompson 1928 A1. Now, a lot of people would recognise this if I had a foregrip and a drum magazine. It's the gangster gun. It's the gun that Churchill posed with. Now, you heard my colleague say that after Dunkirk we lost all his weapons. Well, it's true. And we had no small machine gun. These were bought directly from America. They came over in big boxes and were still being paying the Americans for them up to 1999 under the Blair administration. Now, it fires the American 45 ACP cartridge. Now, this is a very, very nasty round. It's meant to travel slowly. It's slow and it's heavy. And rather than punching through a person, it will hit them and it will move in the body. It will transfer all that power into the body. And that's it, we're gone. The issue with this is its weight. This weighs about 10 pounds. Now, when you've been running with it all night, it gets very, very heavy. Another problem with it is the sheer noise. This is why the silent stem was well rated down. Auxiliaries were only ever meant to fire this in self-defence to get away. If they got into a firefight, that was it. They had no chance. Now, also, using the American 45 cartridge is the Colt. The Colt 1911 A1. Again, it's a pistol that was bought from America because we had no equipment. Now I'm going to fire a few rounds through this so I can get an idea of the sort of noises. They are loud. The Sten is louder, so if you've got sensitive hearing, you might want to put your ears. That's up to you.
Ready? Okay. In your own time, fire. The Germans had something called the MP40 and the MP38, which was a machine pistol, and we had nothing that could counter that. We had rifles and Brents, and that was it. So the British Army decided they needed something an equivalent. So I'm going to put a few rounds through this. Now, the thing about the Sten, it's a relatively light weapon. It's not so much the kickback as the ride up. Rather like the Sterling which followed it, it tends to whip up in the air very fast. You don't want to fire many rounds. In this later model of it, there is a hand grip underneath the front of the barrel. The Mark III version, mine is around here somewhere, has no handle, and you actually hold it underneath the barrel at the front. There was a little bit of a problem with the Mark I's. Besides the possibility of losing your thumb in the working mechanism at the side of the Sten, with the possibility of losing a finger when you actually deftly put it in front of the barrel. So, are you ready? Loaded? Yeah. Okay. In your own time. Contact! Unload.
Mom.
Hang on, I'll do one.
I don't think this is a block. I think it's a block.
Right. Before we demonstrate grenade, members of the Auxiliaries were recruited largely because they knew the local area intimately. Typically, gamekeepers, pochers, who previously might have been the opposite side of the fence. And some of the built-up areas, industrialised areas where an auxiliary unit might be created, they might have come from the local mechanics and technicians. And the important thing is they knew the from the ground.